Hello, and welcome to episode 53 of Anime Territory. I'm your host this week, Johnny Ruhal. With me, as always, is my co-host, Benjamin Bella Cielo Shaving.
Okay, that's why you wanted the name.
Yeah, it wasn't that important. The Wikipedia page did not have the name of the plane, nor does Googling what is the name of the plane in the movie we're watching today. A place promised in our early days. That's the name, right? The place promised in our early days. Mm-hmm. The first of two, maybe three movies we're covering this month, which we're dubbing Makoto March. Which last year we had Mamoru March, and we got 3 movies in, just because of how the weeks timed out. Mm-hmm. We might only get 2. We might do a double feature next week.
We were very lucky then. A lot of Japanese directors' names start with M.
Can you name a Masaki Yuasa?
Yeah, you can do Masaki. I was thinking just Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, Miyazaki. Okay, yeah. I feel like, we've covered one Miyazaki movie. No. Yeah.
2.
Well, Whisper is not really Miyazaki.
Yeah, that's true. 1.5.
1.5 Miyazaki movies. We're not going to talk about his big movies. Sorry. I don't need to restart to install latest Windows updates. I'll do that later. Okay. But we're going to talk about the ones that you haven't seen.
Correct.
Which we've seen most of them. Mm-hmm. You know, we've seen the
now
big
there's
ones.
Only 2 of them I haven't seen.
Yeah.
If you don't include shorts.
We don't include shorts. I've seen them all. Okay. I think I've seen, yeah. I get Voices of a Distant Star and Children Who Chase Lost Voices mixed up. But I think I've seen Voices of Distant Stars is short, and I think I've seen the full movie, The Children Who Chase Lost Voices. Okay. But today we're doing his first movie,
his first official feature length.
Yes. So we're not doing any of his shorts. There's still plenty of his shorts I haven't seen. Mm-hmm. I have seen the commercial for a cram school that he made. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Commercial
it had very big Your Name vibes, where it's just like these 2 people using like the same, worn, earmarked, bookmarked study guide or something that is a resource at this one cram
this
school or
movie's
something.
got some Your Name vibes to it.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that probably more in the spoilery section, I would say. But you can definitely see some things where it's just like, okay, I see why. I see how he took this and adapted it into a more successful movie.
Yes.
Not that this movie is bad.
The movie is not bad.
I don't know. I think it'd take a long time for me to want to watch it again. Unless I was showing it to somebody. But
it's a lot slower paced. A little bit more mellow, I would say, I guess.
Which I got that gist of it like 15 minutes into it or something.
Oh yeah.
Where you're just like, okay, I just need to sort of like sit down. I don't need to like feel anxious. This is not going to be like,
well,
I can just sort of sit here and absorb what's going on.
I guess we'll kind of skip to first impressions.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of going into first impressions.
But like the first 15 minutes of this movie is, I think, like very slow. It's a lot of like a camera shot that tilts up for scenery with dialogue, and then you cut to like the people, and then you cut back to another shot of just scenery and what do you call those? Tilt shots.
I don't know.
I don't know the technical terms, but it's just like, okay, this is taking its time here.
Yeah, when it started taking its time, I just like, all right. And I just had like a little like apprehension at first watching this. I'm like, because okay, let's be honest.
Well, they did
Makoto Shinkai is known for having very like sad movies, and like, is this gonna break my heart? And it's more just like, it might, but it's gonna be gentle about it.
Also, that opening scene, you get the hint like, oh, something happened.
Yeah.
So you're just a little apprehensive.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, I just need to like sit. It'll be fine. I don't need to stress out.
Again,
this movie's not going to be stressful. It's going to go at this slow pace, and even when like things that would in another movie be like, dramatic, exciting. It's just like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I guess we're good. Again, a little bit of spoilers, but it's like there's a war brewing, and you're just like, oh well.
I wouldn't call that spoilers per se.
Okay.
I think that's set up pretty.
But there's
easily.
like tensions going on for this whole movie, and like at the end, there's like the war is starting. But it's just like, okay.
Yeah, they're not building some like
big third act battle.
Big third act. It's going to be half an hour where you're tense and you can't breathe
like,
because
this is happening.
It's just like, no, it's fine. We're going to take our time. It's not going to... I don't know. It just wasn't a stressful movie.
Yeah.
Even though, like, at first I was a little apprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm always apprehensive watching a movie, an atmospheric thing, because it's like, it could be... I'm going to like it, but it's going to...
You're just always a little tense, because you're just like, where are they going to take this?
Yeah.
Especially with anime movies, because I feel like it just might be the ones we watch. There's always something that's going to make you cry.
Well...
Or make you emotional.
I would say some of the movies we watch are very much just like, this is kind of just a piece of art.
That's true.
It's not like, I don't know. I don't think typical movie and typical anime watchers would necessarily like this movie. I think it's for people that are like, I want a piece that I can just sort of digest a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Your Name. It's...
Well, I think that's also...
Which Your Name, I think, does a great job of being both. Whereas this one is, mass appealing and, just like a piece that sits with you and you can kind of think about it. Art. Yeah. It's a masterpiece. Your Name is a masterpiece.
Spoiler alerts.
Our thoughts on one of the critically acclaimed movie, one of the biggest movies in Japan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
And it's entertaining. Whereas this is less on the entertaining side and more on the, I can appreciate this side.
Do you think that's also just because it's like, this is his first feature length? He didn't want to get... He wanted maybe
it felt
focus...
like It felt like he wanted to prove himself.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I should be taken seriously as an artist and as a director. Which is maybe a little like, okay, this...
Again, I got that feeling in like the first half where it's just like you're just getting shots.
Well, so let's give our rate. Well, I can say this isn't spoilers. Another recurring theme is that like there's just beautiful shots. Makoto Shinkai is gonna have beautiful shots. I think in all of his movies, or at least in all the ones I've seen them all now. I don't remember the children
I want to
Lost
talk
Voices,
about.
but well. So here's the thing. I want to say the backgrounds are very, very detailed and beautiful, and I think he did a lot of the art for them. If I was looking at the credits right,
he did storyboards, background art, according to Wikipedia.
I think according to the credits too, I saw background art in his name.
So yeah, he did. I think a majority of the work on this.
Whereas his later movies do a better job of incorporating the characters. As this one, it just sort of felt like the characters were in a different style than the background, which is fine. Okay. It just took an adjustment period to be like, okay, it's not as pretty as the backgrounds are just as pretty as almost any of his other movies, though they're definitely more
gloss.
They're definitely more backgrounds as opposed to being part of the world, if that makes sense.
I feel like this movie, I want to say his newer movies are glossier is probably not the better word. They're just, again, he probably just has more money. He can put more detail into it.
Yeah.
They're just a lot more, like...
They're better. I don't know.
Detailed, yeah.
But, like, on the other side of that, on the other side of Your Name, is something like The Tale of Princess Kaguya, where it's just like, this is like a watercolor painting.
It's a watercolor painting.
And this is not quite that level of...
No.
Of background, but it's just sort of more like they feel like paintings as opposed to a lived-in world.
I gotcha.
As opposed to highly detailed animation that it's just like you look at it, you're like, damn, that's
I think
beautiful.
You also point out a lot of the story doesn't take place in like a city, I guess.
That's true.
So it's a lot more just like landscapes.
Yeah.
To where you don't really, I guess, I don't think you're going to kind of pay as much attention
to the small details. Yeah, because you're just going to naturally like, well, yeah, that's a bunch of tall grass. And that's, but like, even like, I don't know, like the factory or the abandoned factory where they kept the plane, they were just like, I was looking at that, I'm like, I can see like the crinkles in the metal and stuff. And it's like, there's some work put into this. Yeah. And it's just like, the characters don't always feel like they're part of the world.
Okay. Well.
But again, I adjusted and it was fine.
One would argue they're not part of this world.
Okay. Well, let's give our rating and then let's get spoilery with it.
Okay.
I think I would give this an 8.
8? Okay. I went more like 7.5.
Yeah, I
think 7's a little too low for it, but I don't want to give it an 8.
I'm with you there. I think I rounded up to 8 just because I appreciate it as a piece of art. But it's not. I feel like if I say 8, that's something like, oh yeah, I'd watch that again. Whereas this one, I'm like, it's gonna probably be a while before I watch this again.
My anime 8 is great, 7 is good. It's like it's really good, not quite great.
Yeah, 5 is okay, 6 is fine. 7 is good. 8 is great. I don't remember what 9 is.
9 is fantastic.
And then 10 is what, masterpiece or something. So, it's good. Like, I would go more than good, but I don't know if I would go like great. Yeah. I think I'm going to hold on my 8 though. I don't think I'm going to go 7.5 because I don't even think 7.5 is quite enough.
Okay.
Maybe a 7.8, but at that point, let's just round to 8. I think people should watch it. Mm-hmm. I understand people that won't watch it, and I don't think if I go my whole life without ever watching this movie a second time, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But we mentioned a friend of ours texted me. I don't know at this point, like a month ago. what are some anime movies? And I might be like, this one is worth checking out.
Yeah. Especially if you get the whole scope of his career. It's interesting to see where he started.
Yeah, because you can just see little seeds that grow into things.
Mm-hmm. You can definitely see his style.
But let's move away from rating. We're full spoilers till the end of the show.
Okay. How do you want to start?
I guess let's go ahead and list off our characters.
Okay.
So and sort of a quick premise. So we start, there's 3 characters that are in their 9th grade, last year of middle school in Japan. Mm-hmm. 2 of them are sort of child prodigies. They've got this now I say prodigies because that's what Wikipedia calls them.
Oh, okay.
And that's sort of what Okabe, the factory owner, thinks them as.
Okay.
Where they work part-time at this factory, which is actually a front for a
military.
I think it's a military sponsored terrorist group. Okay. If I was reading if I'm reading Wikipedia right. Whereas like they're officially not doing work of the government.
I didn't catch that much, but you knew yeah.
They mentioned terrorists like once, but Wikipedia calls them like a terrorist group.
I feel like I never saw them actually say, "Hey, we're the terrorist group." You're just more like, "Oh, okay, they have something to do with this."
Well, they mentioned like the name of it. It's like UIS.
Yes,
something like
it's like UILTA or something.
Yeah, UILTA. You got it right.
Boom. Guess.
UILTA Liberation Front. Anyway, we don't necessarily know that they're, but. They work for this factory, and they do something. They have like some military contracts, or they're building something.
Yeah.
The boys find a.
Do you know these boys' names?
I do know their names. Their names are Takuya Shirokawa and Hiroki Fujisawa.
Okay.
I would say our main character is Hiroki Fujisawa.
Yeah. If you want to know which one's which, Takuya is the guy with glasses.
Yes, Takuya is the guy with glasses.
Yeah.
And then So they both the story starts out with I think Hiroki narrating. It's like the place promised in our early days was. There's two things back then that we were obsessed with. We share this obsession. One of them is this tower in the island of Izo, which was formerly known as Hokkaido, but is now under the control of the Union, which Wikipedia revealed to us was the Soviet Union, which makes a lot
of
more
sense. In the movie,
they just say the Union, and I'm like,
we watched the sub, so they might have said Soviet in the dub, but it's the sub, they just say the Union.
Yeah, so we're just like, is this just some sort of country? And then I thought for a while it was America, and then they were like, no, America got in a fight with the Union, and I'm like, wait, so who's... I thought there was two parties at one point, and then it's like, no, there's three.
I think I just figured like Japan like split in half, and then like the North was the Union, and the South was just Japan or whatever.
Yeah,
and they like ally with the U.S., but no.
Yeah, no.
Well, yes, but no.
I thought at first it was like American occupied Japan, and they're like they have a light presence on the main islands, but they have a heavy presence on Hokkaido. That's what I thought it was at first, but nope, that's not it. Hokkaido is under the control of the Soviet Union. The U.S. and Japan are allied in this, though it might still sort of be Japan occupied by the U.S. sort of thing. Yeah. More, but they find like a military drone that was like shot down or something in the woods.
Yeah, like a plane.
Yeah, and they are like they're working at the factory to earn money to kind of like turn it into an airplane they can ride.
I think those are two separate things.
Wikipedia says they are the same thing.
They are the same thing?
That's what Wikipedia says.
Okay. I thought they were like known because they found that drone. But also separately they found that like abandoned warehouse with the plane in it.
Yeah. They might be... That drone doesn't get mentioned more than once.
Yeah.
But Wikipedia says, the boys find a crashed Maritime Self-Defense Force drone aircraft and work on rebuilding the plane with the support of Mr. Okabe, the boss at the military plant.
Because they talked about like, yeah, you're the guys who found that drone in the forest.
And now the military is watching you and us.
But I figured like the military found it, so like they gave it up. But now they're known for it.
Yeah, so Wikipedia might be wrong.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
It's true.
They didn't even put the name of the plane they're putting in there. On there.
Wikipedia's never wrong.
Hey, I gave Wikipedia like $6 once, all right? I can talk shit about Wikipedia. They keep asking me for more money, but I already gave the money once. Now everybody else who uses Wikipedia has to give them money, like their donations say. Nah. If everyone gave them $2 that uses it.
Probably just spend it on something.
It's spend it on...
hookers and blow.
Okay. Anyways. Their other their first passion is this giant tower that was built on that island.
Yes.
They're like, we want to go and see it up close.
We're going to build this plane. 20-story tower.
This thing like
goes up to like
it looks
space.
like it's curved.
It goes up to like space.
Yeah.
Not to space, but it's really big.
It's visible from Tokyo on a clear day.
This is a big tower.
Yes.
And nobody really knows what it does.
That's why they're obsessed with it. They want to go see it. They're building a plane to go fly it over
Fixing the plane.
I think they're building.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They did say build. Whatever. It doesn't.
Which is why I think Wikipedia might be wrong again.
Okay.
Because this says they're working on rebuilding and whatever. Their other obsession is this classmate of theirs that they both have a crush on, I guess, which is Sabatori Sayuri. You get the feeling that Sayuri might like Hiroki more than Takuya, but it's not really like nothing's ever expressed in this first part of the movie. Definitely by the end.
Oh yeah,
I would say. But
glasses couldn't falls for somebody else.
Towards the end, for sure. But I think they both like
her. Yes.
And then there's like a... I don't know if Hiroki is popular, but Takia definitely is popular.
Yeah, because he's like a big shot speed skater.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I'm like,
yeah, they have a speed skating scene. It's just like, all right.
They have speed
And then
skating?
they never brought it back up.
That's cool.
They're like, that was our last day at the club.
I like speed skating.
But he gets asked out by people and he turns them down. And the friend's like, oh, why'd you turn her down? She was cute. He's like, well, would you date her? He's like, no. Because there's somebody else that they like. So, but she's like, oh, you guys have a job? That's cool. You guys are building a plane? That's cool. Can I go see it? And they're like,
yes.
Yeah. And then they're like, why did you tell her she could come? What are we going to tell her we're going to fly to the tower?
No.
Well, what if she asks?
Don't tell her.
And then they tell her.
Yeah. Where are you guys going with this plane? Oh, to the tower.
Come on, man. They spend quite a bit of a summer together. They have...
We spent the spring together, and I think some of the summer, but not all of the summer.
And then they get to a day where it's like, oh, they're kind of close. I want to see where this is going. And then we never saw her again.
You know, 3 years later.
And it's like, huh. Now they're sort of in high school, though I think Takuya might have graduated early. He's working for the government.
I think he goes to like a
physicist research.
I think he technically goes to like a military school.
Okay. But again, it's just like, oh yeah, he's like this young prodigy. He's the youngest member on this team of like physicists trying to
figure out.
Yeah. We learn that like the tower is somehow replacing material
with material from a parallel world.
Yeah. And they're trying to like piggyback off of that, what the tower's doing, observing it to try to do it themselves with very limited success. They're like, we've had like 6 experiments where we're able to replace something the size of a grain of sand.
I think they were able to do like a little bit more this time, but then it failed.
Yeah. Like we got pretty far, then it stopped. Mm-hmm. What are we doing wrong? And why, what is the purpose of this tower? It's only able to change things within like 20 kilometers or something, or 2 kilometers at this point.
Yeah.
And is it a weapon? Who knows?
Yeah,
doesn't seem to be a very effective range for a weapon, and they haven't gotten further than that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we learn that we spend quite a bit of time with Takuya at that point.
We also meet the brain specialist.
Yes, who is sort of... She's a little bit older, but not that much older.
Yes.
And her name is Maki Kasahara.
Mm-hmm. She's also studying the tower, but she is more specialized in the brain.
Yeah.
So she is kind of researching...
dreams
connections with this tower, or like...
parallel dreams connecting the parallel world, and like the Earth is dreaming.
Yeah.
And
this quote comes later, but the guy's like, "You want to know what God dreams about?" And I'm just like, "That's kind of a cool line."
Yeah,
it's probably just the same as always.
Yeah, we do go eventually to Hiroki. The same as always. I'm sorry. What do you think? The same as always.
Oh, like having to do a speech in your underwear, showing up to a class on the last day, not knowing anything. Never had that dream where it's like,
I have the dream where
you have a class that you didn't go to the entire year, and then you show up for the final. You're like, I don't know anything about this.
It's not that I show up to a final and I don't know anything about it. It's like I realized at the end of the year, like, oh yeah, I had this class that I never went to. I completely forgot it existed.
Oh yeah, that too.
Or I have, I'll have a dream where like I'm back in high school and I don't remember my schedule, and I'm like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And then I try to like remember my schedule, and I'm like, I know chemistry is after calculus. That's 3rd and 4th hour. I know that one.
I hated those dreams.
It's just like, and then you wake up, you're like, I don't fucking need to know my schedule.
I'm not in school anymore. Man, I haven't had those dreams in a while. I'm so glad.
It might have been maybe a year or 2 at this point. I'm sure I'm going to have one tonight now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what God dreams about.
School. He's not he's not eyeing like Venus. No. Like, ooh, look at that pretty lady.
He does not dream of buddy girl senpais.
Oh, okay. Because God's a rascal?
God's a rascal.
Okay. All right. I can get behind that theory. Eventually we go back to Hiroki. And he's in Tokyo. We get some stuff with the factory owner Okabe, but it's just like him talking to a professor and being like, we got this bomb that we got a hold of.
Well, can it destroy the tower? Yes.
Then at one point, like, Takia takes Maki to meet him over at the factory. He's like, yeah, I'm going to bring a guest over. And it's like, I don't know. I was sort of zoning out at that point. But it's an atmospheric show. You're sort of supposed to zone out and pay attention at the same time.
I don't think they say anything of significance. It's more just kind of learning what she does, I think.
Learning what she does, building up that, like, okay, this is... Stuff's going on. Okabe's not all that he seems. He mentions to the professor, oh no, there's another boy. He's in Tokyo. And that's when we go see Hiroki, who's sort of like... He's got friends, but he doesn't do anything with them after school. And then he's just sort of like depressed.
Depressed, alone.
But like he doesn't put on that front at school or when he's around people. He's like, I get bored. We see him like practicing electric violin. He's like, sometimes
he'll go to the train station. He'll go to the train station and pretend he's waiting for somebody. And when he gets bored of that, he'll just walk home really slow.
And it's time for bed at that point. But
and he has these like very like vivid dreams about
trying to find Sayuri. And then it's like I never see her, but I always like the most I get is a feel her presence in the same place. We also should say that we get some Sayuri. She's been sleeping for the last 3 years.
She has been in a coma for 3 years.
Yeah.
Technically sleeping, but...
Yeah. Wikipedia says she's an extreme form of narcolepsy.
Okay.
But she's been like, she's dreaming, and we see her just like dream-like wandering through an empty world, and sometimes all of a sudden she's in a new place. Just like in a dream, you can just shift. We see her like go to this classroom, and it's like, this specific desk. We highlighted it for you for a second, and then we see later Hiroki in the same classroom, same desk, highlighted. It's like, I feel her presence. And it's like, okay, so this is...
We also learn, I don't know if it's here, but we do learn that she's connected to the tower somehow.
Yes. At some point we learned that like she was starting to show signs of regaining consciousness, and then the area around the tower that was material from another world started expanding.
Yes.
And then she went back to sleep and it stopped expanding. And they're like, it's as we feared.
She's connected to the tower.
Because her grandfather is the one who built it. Boom. But Hiroki just has... Eventually he gets a letter when she was at the hospital before she fell asleep for 3 years. She wrote a letter saying like, sorry I disappeared on you guys. I woke up at this hospital.
She wrote it to both of them, right? And then they were supposed to give it to Okabe.
Yeah, they gave it to Okabe so that he could give it to both of them.
But I don't think they ever delivered it. Or they never gave it to him.
But he did give it to him 3 years later. Because now he's got this letter.
Well, the doctor who's Okabe's friend...
dropped it off?
Gave it to him, I think.
Okay. Well, he just like saw it like thrown under his door. He goes to the hospital where she was. She's already been transferred by that same doctor. He's like, can I go to this room? And then he's like, I feel like I'm in my dream again. Are you here, Sayuri? And she's in the same room and they touch each other. That sounds weird. They somehow are able to grab each other's hands.
Yes.
And then they're like, I can see you. And it's like, where have I seen this before?
Where have I seen this before?
Where they have some sort of connection over time and space. And it's a dreamlike quality.
We're not going to say the movie, but it should be very obvious.
It should be very obvious without saying its name. Anyway, they have like some sort of conversation, and then I don't know if they mention the tower. And then he sort of wakes up and he's like, okay, I've got a plan. I'm going to go to I'm going to take Sayuri to the tower, and that's going to cause her to wake up. I just have an inkling that this is going to work.
I guess the only thing that's connecting her to this universe is like the promise they made to her about taking her to see the tower. Possibly. So they feel like if they bring her to the tower, it will wake her up.
It'll wake her up. And then there's like this whole thing where it could be, what do you want to call it? She says in her dream that she sees multiple broken towers. And then eventually we see like all those broken towers as she's about to wake up. We see them all disappear. And I like to think it's like, oh, these are all the possible worlds that she could choose. Okay. And then who knows, which one is the one that she wants to go to. And then eventually at the end, she's able to like, okay, this is the world. The plane has come to this tower. We've met, sort of thing. They also then, when they take her to the tower, because I guess we're skipping ahead a bit, but Hiroki's like, this is my plan. Go back to my hometown. Takia runs into him. Hiroki's like, this is the plan. I'm going to take this. Takia's like, no.
This is stupid.
War is going to be declared. I'm going to shoot the plane so that to disable it or whatnot. And
stop living in the past.
Yeah. Eventually, Hiroki, I don't know, he like wrestles the gun out of his hand.
He like knocks it out of his hand, then he punches him, and then
they just part ways.
Then he just leaves.
But eventually, Takia is like, okay, change of heart. Yeah, I'm on board. I'll make up with my friend. Mm-hmm. He takes Maki's key card because she has access to the room where they are keeping Sayuri, which like I think he sort of had that mentality because the doctor's like, oh, you want to see your friend? Well, here she is. And this is she can't ever wake up because then the world will be broken. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's like against the plan. And then he comes around. He's like, all right, fine.
You see a picture where it's like him and Okabe and some girl on a plane. So you're just like, oh, he has some sort of connection to this.
The doctor does. Yeah. Some sort of parallel situation. Yeah. But
he too has a friend in a coma.
Yeah, they're like, instead of it, it's like, all right, well, here's the plan then, and we've got the terrorist company's approval to do this. They were gonna send a drone in to blow up the tower, as while like fighting was going on, try to send it in, but instead we'll send you guys. And they're like, why are you sending those kids? And I'm like, the kids wanted to do it.
Hey, you guys do your thing. And on the way back, just blow up the tower.
Get 10 kilometers away from the tower, and then just drop the missile. It knows what it's going to do.
Yeah, we have it guided. It's fine. You just got to push the button.
Yeah. Sayuri's on the brink of waking up. She sees the plane like in her dreams all the time, and that's like a good sign. But then that's when she would wake up, or that's when something would shift after she stopped waking up. But they fly her over. Hiroki takes her. Takia stays back because it's only a two-seater, but he does like help finish the stuff on the plane,
like
and
the
maybe
programming and coding and all that.
Yeah, and maybe also does some sort of guidance thing. At the base, but as she's waking up, she's like, I gotta remember to tell him how much this connection we had meant to me while I was trapped in my dream world, and that I love him. And then she wakes up and is like, there's something important I have to tell you. I've already forgotten what it is, which is just like, it's dreams again. It's hard to remember dreams. Here's
only in dreams.
And so it's just like, okay, this is sort of the sad moment where you're like, oh, she doesn't remember that she loves him. But he's just like, that's fine. You're here. We're together.
It's like that promise is over, so now we can
we can start fresh. We can
fresh start.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
You think a fresh start?
Fresh start. And that's, I don't know, that's the end of the movie. They blow up the tower. The universe stops being changed over, though I think there's still like 40-something kilometer circle around where the tower was.
It did expand when she woke up, but then they blew up the tower. And
I don't think
like it stopped.
It stopped, but I don't think it receded. I think that area is still a different universe.
Okay. But the expansion stopped.
Yes, it stopped expanding.
Yes.
It did not replace the entire world.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the end of the movie. Am I forgetting anything big?
No, I don't think so.
It's just a very atmospheric show and melancholic.
It's like we explained a lot, but it didn't happen that quick.
Yeah. It took its time. It took its time getting there.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the beginning, again.
Yeah. Well, and we also didn't mention, like, at one point when Taki is with the terrorist group, they go to the island.
Yeah, they try to go to the island.
And then, like, they get found by the police, and some of the military people that they were with got blown up, but they pretty much escaped. So that he got a bullet in his arm or something. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say a broken arm, but he definitely took a bullet to the arm. And some people died, but
I was a kid like you until it took a bullet to the arm.
So like it's like even that scene is like, oh, this is an action-packed scene, but I'm just not like worried. I'm just sort of chill about it all. Mm-hmm. That's what this movie's got going for it. It's very chill.
Got any notes you want to go
over? Dreams are still a theme. Makoto takes this dream theme and really expands upon it in a certain movie.
Okay.
At one point when they're fighting, Takia tells Hiroki, "Save the world or save the girl." Okay. And I wrote down, "Always pick the girl over the world." Oh, yeah. Always.
Oh yeah.
And then I wrote down, "Save world, get girl."
There's another movie that does that. Shinkai movie.
Where he picks. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would argue too. I'd argue that happens in the one. I'd argue that happens in the one right before the one you're thinking of.
The world?
I would.
Okay.
It's more like not the world per se. It's not the world per se in either of them.
Okay.
But
we may just have to do your name.
We'll do it eventually. It's just so good of a movie. I don't know. It would just be us like saying for 20 minutes, it's so good, and then we wouldn't have anything interesting to say that hasn't already been said. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll have your brother on it or something, or that's my brother.
Ooh, which one?
No, I don't. That doesn't sound like a good idea.
All right. Got any other notes?
Beautiful landscapes, atmosphere. Yeah, well, I was going to elaborate on Save World, Get Girl. Great song.
Okay.
You save the world. You get the girl.
Yeah. Whoa.
You save the world. Anyway, go listen to that song, people.
By Hi-Fi Dragons.
Yes. They're still your favorite band, too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't always listen to them, per se.
I haven't listened to a lot of them lately,
but they're still my favorite band. It's just want to listen to your different stuff, if that makes sense. So,
okay. My notes. Why was nobody wearing a hat in the winter? There's like one person and like 20 different people who wore a hat.
I don't know. They're used to it.
Come on, wear your hats.
They're from the northern part of Japan. They're used to it.
I mentioned that. I guess the only note I wrote that I was going to maybe try to discuss was the lighting, which I think is like the big maybe style that he has. He has a lot of exaggerated lighting.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like every time there's like a window, like windows in a shot, there was light coming out of that window. Or like...
Yeah, it seemed like he tried to light it.
He almost tries to animate as if there's natural lighting in this shot.
Yeah, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't always... I don't know, it definitely has like a...
It's not like a bad thing, it's just something I noticed where like he puts it... I think he puts a big exaggeration on lighting.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of like...
I just don't think it always hits right. I don't think it lands. It's not like when they did... Like when Stanley Kubrick did Barry Lyndon and he's like, well, yeah, we're going to light this all by candlelight. Mm-hmm. and make it.
Well, I guess again, I don't know much. I don't know anything about lighting usually, but it's just like the one director I feel like now who's kind of like known for this type of stuff would be like J.J. Abrams. He likes to use like lens flares.
Yeah.
So I kind of get like
that
sense where it's like he's trying to use like lens flares. It's not like actual lens flares though. He's just trying to, again, just make the lighting more noticeable, I think.
Yeah. Which can take away from things or it can add. And I feel like it was fine, but it didn't always hit, maybe.
Maybe it's just, I just feel like sometimes you're just like, is there a reason he's doing this?
Yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like, okay, I need to make my final piece of art for school. Or like, obviously I don't think it's actually a school project, but it just sort of had that vibe of like...
Which I don't remember much. I don't think he does it in his other films.
Lighting is definitely sort of a thing in Your Name. Specifically like Twilight, Magic Hour sort of
That's
thing.
true.
But as far as like, okay, this is a night scene, it's not like it's trying to use... It's not as exaggerated, but I think lighting is still important in Your Name.
Mm-hmm. It's just that scene where it's like, it's nighttime and they're in the warehouse and there's very exposed nightlight coming through like the roofing. Yeah, it's just like...
It's sort of distracting.
It's sort of distracting because you're like, why is he putting a focus on this? But other than that,
I don't remember well enough if lighting... I don't think it was a big thing. I don't think it was as distracting in 30 Centimeters or The Children in Chase Lost Voices.
Okay.
But
so it's probably just a stylistic choice.
Yeah. I feel like he was trying to prove himself and doesn't always go the way you want. Just like, I feel like, well, our last movie that we covered, The Deer King, I feel like there were parts of that where it's just like, it's definitely this guy trying to like prove himself as a director, and it doesn't always hit the way you think it was intended.
Okay.
You know, like...
And that's the thing, it's like, I don't exactly know what a director does in terms of animation.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Because it's like, he's not animating everything. It's just...
Well, in this case, he's doing a lot.
He's doing a lot of... In this case, he is.
But they're still not doing all of it.
Because a lot of movies, they'll have a director, and then they'll have like an animating director. So it's just like, what exactly does he do?
Yeah, and there's a writer,
and
too.
I'm sure he has a say in kind of like the style of it, so...
Yeah, I mean, sure, he's got the similar say as a live action director. It's just hard to be like, okay, what?
Which I guess is the case for like actual live action directors too, because it's like they're not shooting the movie or like setting a lot of the cameras up, because that's what the cinematographer does.
Yeah, but they're like, this is what I want, now go do it.
And like, he's not technically like editing by himself, or he's not writing it.
Yeah, so this whole podcast has just been an exercise in us not understanding exactly what directors do.
Yeah.
Ever. But surely they do something. Yeah. They're the captain. They steer the ship.
Gotcha.
It's just a little bit harder in animation because it's like, well, they're not... Just go, like, all right, go animate this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. Go do it. Whereas when it's a director and you've got actors and you got the camera, you can be like, I want the camera over there and I want to make sure you catch this.
I want the actors to come in through there and then hit this spot, move the camera this way.
Yeah,
we're a little bit more.
I'm going to make changes to the script on the fly, and you know, it's not going to be the same thing as the screenplay was. Mm-hmm. So, so we don't know what directors necessarily do.
Yeah.
We have a bit of an idea.
If you're a director, let us know.
Yeah, come on the podcast. I mean, are we done talking spoilers? Are we done talking about this movie? We're about 44 minutes in.
Yeah. Okay. My other note was, this is a multiverse movie?
Yeah, apparently.
Which it kind of was. They didn't really go into a multiverse.
Well, they did.
I guess she did.
She did. And Hiroki did whenever he flew her to the tower, because the tower was in a different universe at that point.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was a weird tower. They say those like nano nets in the middle of it.
Yeah, something like that.
I was just like, they can find the top of this thing?
Well, at the start of the movie, they're like, before the war, and I'm like, oh, is this like a period piece before like World War II? And then and then we were obsessed with the tower, and they pan. I was like, okay, no, this is a sci-fi movie. Okay. Gotcha. Alternate, I think it took place in 96 is when they were in middle school.
I think they said the tower became operational in like 96 or 99.
Yeah. I had the Wikipedia page down because I wanted to see how far we were along. But
yeah, they just like start talking about war. You're like, okay, so this is gonna be like a war period piece or drama.
Yeah, like they got
and then there's
their family evacuated in the war, or
families were lost in the division,
or something happened to her with a U.S. troop occupying Japan, and then they're gonna make me sad that way. I'm like, what are you gonna do to me, Makoto? I know you. Your newer works are your happier works, but I know you.
It's just like, yeah, we'll just put that on the back burner. Here's this huge ass tower.
It's like, all right,
we're gonna spend the whole movie talking about this tower.
And then like they have laptops, and I'm like, okay, so like we're not in the past. We're in an alternate. We're not necessarily in the future. We're in an alternate history sort of thing. But do we want to mention? I'm pointing at something here.
You can. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we got stickers made of our logo. If you want a sticker, tweet at us. I'll try to pay attention to them. Okay. Tweet at us. We'll DM you, and then you'll have to like send us your address, I guess, and we'll mail it to you. So we've only got so many of them. But that's all right because there's even fewer people that listen to this than we have of stickers.
We have enough for if every person who watches these wants one.
Yes.
Or like 5.
And maybe not like every person that's listened to our Sunny Boy episode.
Okay. But
our regular listeners, all 5 of them, can have 1 or 2.
Maybe 5.
Depends. I want to give them out to people I know in real life. And I want to keep a few to...
This is like our first merch.
Yeah, I want to call it merchandise. Because we're not selling it.
That's true.
But yeah, I wanted a sticker for a while now. So I just bought some custom stickers off of Amazon.
Cool.
They turned out okay.
Yeah.
We went a little on the cheap end. 3x3 square sticker of our logo.
You went a little...
Oh yeah, you didn't pay for anything.
I didn't
This
do
is
anything.
all me.
Yeah, this is all you.
I dropped like $70 on 120 stickers.
I think you asked me if you wanted it uncut, and I'm like, sure.
But if we run out of stickers, maybe we'll do another one sometime. Maybe.
All right, wrap it up.
Okay. You can follow us on Twitter at anime_territory. If you tweet at us at anime_territory, then we'll DM you and send you a sticker. You can find us on YouTube, Anime Territory. You can find us anywhere podcasts are found as Anime Territory. And sometimes we stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/DementedGoku. I'm trying to set something up for that now that I haven't even run by Shabs yet, really. But we haven't done it in a while. I'm hoping to get back to some regular stuff on there. Otherwise, you're now leaving the Anime Territory.
Goodbye.